This is the first king of the Sassanian Empire. But how did his empire begin? Well, it started with a rebellion. Let me explain. Achaemenid Persia stretched from Central Asia to the Middle East and parts of Eastern Europe. Its king was Cyrus the Great, and under his successors the empire grew to become the largest the world had ever seen. But around 224 AD, the Achaemenid Empire was in decline. The last good ruler was Shapur I, who expanded the empire's borders and reformed its administration. But after his death, the empire was ruled by a series of weak monarchs. The military began losing against outside invaders, and corruption ran rampant across the empire. So it should come as no surprise that many rebellions broke out during this period. One of them being in the northwest of the empire, where a local governor named Papak Shah raised an army and claimed to be the king of kings. Unfortunately for him, the Achaemenid monarch Artaxerxes was able to put down his revolt. But 5 years later, another claimant took the throne. This time it was a man named Artabanus, who took the title Artabanus I. Again, the Achaemenid monarch Shapur succeeded in crushing the rebellion, but a few years later, the throne was seized yet again, this time by a man named Orodes I. However, he didn't declare himself the king of kings, but instead only called himself the king of Persis, which was a province in southwestern Iran. Orodes also did not try to conquer the entire Achaemenid Empire like his predecessors did. Instead, he just focused on securing his own position. He chose not to challenge the Achaemenids because they were too strong, but also because he wasn't truly ambitious. He was more of a power-hungry opportunist who would sell out anyone for his own benefit. So he paid tribute to the Achaemenids and kept ruling Persis independently. But his compliance did not save him as Shapur II came to power and decided to crush any remaining opposition within the empire. So he marched west and conquered Persis, ending Oros's reign and installing his own puppet in its place. But while Shapur was away, Orodes' son, Shapur, rebelled and retook the province. Realizing that Shapur II would come back to finish him off, Orodes fled to the neighboring kingdom of Armenia, where he spent the rest of his life in exile. Shapur II did attempt to pursue Orodes, but he was unable to locate him. So he returned back to Parsa, where he would spend most of his reign suppressing rebellions across the empire. It seems that Shapur was hoping to restore the empire back to its former glory, which is why he brutally crushed any opposition he faced. Meanwhile, Ardashir III continued to rule Parsa independently in the south, paying tribute to the Achaemenids and avoiding any conflict with them. In fact, he even assisted them in their wars against Rome. So when Shapur II died in 309 AD, Ardashir saw his chance to finally declare independence from the Achaemenids. With Shapur gone, there was no powerful ruler to stop him. So he raised an army and marched north to conquer territories that once belonged to the Achaemenids. He even fought against the Sassanid satraps, those governors that the Achaemenids had installed in their place, but they were easily defeated. Within a few years, most of Greater Persia was under his control. His next target was the Seleucid governor of Babylonia, which was the last Achaemenid governor left to be defeated. But the governor, who was apparently named Batis, refused to submit to Ardashir, so he was forced to fight a war against him. The exact details of the war are unknown, but it seems that Ardashir won a decisive victory. He captured Babylon, executed or converted to Zoroastrianism the remaining Achaemenid officials in the city, and then moved his capital there. This event marked the official end of the Achaemenid Empire and the beginning of the Sassanian Empire. Ardashir continued to expand his empire during the following years. He conquered parts of Armenia and Media, as well as the Arabian Peninsula. In fact, most of southern Arabia was conquered by his generals, Bahman and Bakhtash. But according to some sources, the Himyarite king, whom we met in a previous episode, was able to defeat them and push them back. Nevertheless, Ardashir established control over Mesopotamia, except for Hatra, which was ruled by an independent kingdom. He also campaigned against the Kushan Empire in Central Asia, but was defeated. After returning home, he turned his attention towards the west, where he invaded Anatolia, but was again defeated. Despite these defeats, Ardashir was considered a great conqueror as he united the Persians for the first time since the days of Cyrus the Great. In order to further strengthen his position, he created a new religion known as Zoroastrianism, which was based on Zoroastrianism. Ardashir did this by marrying his daughter, Shirin, to the fire priest Parthian, who became the head of the clergy and greatly influenced the Sassanian kings that followed. To secure his eastern borders, Ardashir made peace with the Saka ruler Gothamos and married his daughter to him. And to improve trade relations with India, he also sent an embassy to the Gupta Empire, which was then ruled by Chandragupta Wamd. But not all of his attempts at diplomacy were successful, as his relations with the Roman Empire soured and he declared war on them. This led to the Battle of Callinicum, which resulted in a Roman victory. But the Romans were unable to capitalize on this victory because of internal strife. Ardashir tried to take advantage of this by launching an invasion into Anatolia, but he was defeated by the Roman Emperor Licinius. He then attempted to invade Mesopotamia, but was again defeated and forced to retreat. His reign was then cut short by an assassination. While he was celebrating the new year in 226, he was murdered by his own son, Shapur I. The motive behind the murder is unknown, but it may have been a power struggle, or maybe Shapur was trying to avenge his father's defeats. Despite being assassinated, Ardashir is considered a hero in Persian history, especially among the Zoroastrians. He is credited with uniting the Persians and restoring the greatness of Persia, which had been absent since the days of the Achaemenids. When Shapur I took the throne, he inherited an empire that was twice the size of the Roman Empire. The secret behind his father's success was the introduction of several reforms. He centralized the government by creating a bureaucracy and appointing loyal officials throughout the empire. He also standardized weights and measures, reformed the army, and introduced a new currency. And in order to promote trade, he minted coins with the Greek translation of the official weights and measures on one side and their Persian equivalent on the other. These reforms, along with the empire's strategic location between Mesopotamia and Central Asia, helped make the Sassanian Empire rich. They controlled the trade routes connecting the Roman Empire with India and China. Shapur also built several cities throughout the empire, such as Shapur I, which he built to commemorate his victory against the Romans. His decision to build cities helped increase population density in the empire, which in turn helped with economic growth. During his reign, the Sassanians reconquered much of Mesopotamia from the Romans. He defeated the Roman Emperor Valerian and took him prisoner. This humiliation led to the deification of Shapur within Persia, as people believed that he was a manifestation of their god Ahura Mazda. He was considered a divine king, which legitimized his rule and helped unite the Persians. After securing the western borders, Shapur turned his attention towards the east. He fought against the Hephthalites and Kushans, but was unsuccessful in conquering Central Asia. He then went south and launched an invasion into the Roman province of Syria. This led to the Battle of Antioch, where Shapur inflicted a humiliating defeat on the Romans. He pillaged through Syria, taking many prisoners back to Persia. But his invasion into Anatolia once again ended in failure. Later in his reign, Shapur built a road from Susa to the Persian Gulf in order to facilitate trade with the Arabs. He also encouraged the development of arts and literature. But his last years were spent fighting against the Saka tribe, who had now migrated to Central Asia. In 272 AD, he launched a massive invasion into Central Asia with an army of 80,000 men. According to some sources, his army consisted of 100,000 men, but the army was decimated by diseases, leaving Shapur with only 10,000 troops. Although the campaign was a failure, Shapur's reputation as a great warrior remained intact. He was succeeded by his son, Hormizd I, who continued his father's policies and reigned for 37 years. He also faced the threat of the Huns in the east, but he was able to hold them back. After his death, the empire was plunged into civil war as nobles competed for the throne. This led to the empire's decline and opened the gates for Arab invasions. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing and check out the links below for more content. Thanks for watching.